think catches a lot of women off guard. It's not failure, and it's not being reckless. It's not having done things badly. It is this. You can do everything right for the first 30, 40, 50 years of your life. You can build your career. You can be sensible. Save a bit. Then keep going. Keep showing up. Keep being that grown-up. And then one day, usually in a very ordinary moment, you look at your life, your savings and your future, and you think, is this actually going to be enough? Enough for freedom? Enough for security? Enough for choice? Enough for later? And that feeling is so odd, isn't it? Because on paper, you might look fine. You've had that grown-up career. You've probably got decent savings, maybe even own your own home. And you might be better off than you'd expected, or you may even compare yourself to your parents. And yet, underneath all of that, there's this little wobble that's going on with you. Because deep down, you can feel it. Life is not getting cheaper. The world's not getting any steadier. And that old formula of work hard, save carefully, and hope that it stretches is now starting to feel a little bit flimsy. BlackRock's 2025 chairman letter argues that many people cannot build long-term wealth in low-return savings when inflation is outpacing the returns, which is one of the reasons access to investing and capital markets is becoming such a real-life issue for many, many people. I'm not saying this to be dramatic. I'm saying it because I think a lot of normal women like you and I have reached a really interesting crossroads. This is not a crisis. We are able to put food on the table, but nonetheless, it is a crossroads. One path says, just keep doing more of what you've always done. Earn more, push a little bit harder, stay useful, stay needed, stay switched on, stay productive. Maybe that will work. But then the other path asks slightly more uncomfortable questions. What if effort on its own is no longer enough? How will AI impact what I'm doing? Let me put that differently. What if the problem isn't that you haven't worked hard enough, but that you've been trying to build long-term security with only one engine? Most people are taught how to earn. Some are then taught how to save, and a few are taught how to build businesses. But hardly any normal people are taught properly how to think like an investor. Let's take you for a moment and have a look at the 4 quadrants, because I think this is quite interesting, and it's really good to see where you are in the quadrants. First up in the top left, we have the employee quadrant. You earn just enough through a job. Then we have the self-employed quadrant. You earn because you work. Third up, we've got the business owner quadrant. You earn through systems, people, and leverage. These tend to be businesses with 20, 100 or more employees. And then latterly, we have the investor quadrant. And that's where your money actually works for you rather than you working for it. That is exactly where so many women get shortchanged. Because we become very good at the first 3 potentially, many only the first 2, but without really knowing what the 4th step entails. And I think it's important to be clear here, because when I say investor, I don't mean some bloke in Canary Wharf with 6 screens and no daylight and a superiority complex. What I mean is something much more grounded than that. I mean learning how to own assets, learning how to position some of your money so it has a chance to grow, learning how to understand change before it becomes obvious to the masses, learning how to stop relying only on your future efforts. Now, this for me is where things got really interesting, because once I started thinking properly about the investor quadrant, I realised that it wasn't only about money. I was starting to see the world differently, seeing that underneath all of the noise, something much bigger might be shifting. Money, ownership, technology, access, and latterly opportunity. I remember sitting there one day with my laptop open and a cup of tea going cold, one of those slightly grey British afternoons where the light is neither here nor there, and I had a feeling. It wasn't panic or urgency, more like something's moving here. And most people either haven't noticed this or they've dismissed it because the packaging around it has been so dreadful. Because when a new space first shows up, it often looks ridiculous. The wrong people get loud, the headlines get silly, the jargon gets unbearable. And so sensible women like us think, no thanks, I'm not joining that circus. But what if underneath that circus, the foundations are being built for something that would be very intriguing, that also you could capitalise on? What if the noise is distracting people from a whole new infrastructure? I'm far more interested in being early to understanding than early to show off. And I think a lot of women in midlife feel the same. We don't want to do MLMs anymore. We've maybe tried that. We don't want another side hustle that makes us cringe. We don't want to become some cartoon version of ourselves. But we do want more security, more growth, and ideally something intellectually interesting enough that it uses our brains, not just our desperation. So this 9-part series is really for the woman who's thinking, I've had a proper career, I may have done okay, but I can see that the next 20 years may reward a different kind of understanding. And I'd rather start learning now than wait until everyone pretends they saw it coming. And once I started pulling on that thread, one name kept appearing: Larry Fink. Now, if you don't know who he is yet, that's totally fine. But this is not some random chap from the internet with a motivational microphone and a suspiciously white smile. Larry Fink is chairman and CEO of BlackRock, which he co-founded in 1988. BlackRock says it manages more money than any other investment company in the world. So when someone like that starts talking seriously about tokenization, I think ordinary women like us should start to pay attention, because that usually means that the grown-ups are looking where the rails are going next. So next up, I want to show you exactly who this chappie is, what role he plays, and why what he's saying matters to your future far more than people will ever realise. Stay with me, because next is where the story starts to get very interesting. If this has put words to something that you've been quietly feeling, comment the word shift in the comment section under here. And if you already know you want help making sense of what's changing in money and ownership and investing without any hype, book a call with one of my team. The link is in the description underneath this video. Also, if you're ready to learn a little bit more, there'll be a video jumping up somewhere around the screen right now. Click on the link and I'll see you in the next video.